You're about to hear me use the world's worst German. However, I feel it's a rather important subject. We have a large number of commentators on YouTube. I'm just one talking head among many. But there is at times a desire shown by some of them to start talking about burning books or destroying stuff. And there is a very important quote, which is perhaps more important at this time of year when than any when we at Easter, when we remember perhaps the results of intolerance and what that led to with Christ. Where they have burned books, they will end up burning people. That's Heinrich Heine, the German author. Now, this is from the Jewish Review of Books, and I apologize to anyone if I mispronounce your name reading this out or some of it. Or you can all come and batter me for misusing German because my German is appalling. But it's by a gent called Shlomo Aveneri. I have no idea who the gent is, whether he's a well-known author or just a reviewer for them. But Heinrich Heine's chillingly prophetic statement that where books have been burned, people would eventually be too, is now engraved on the Bibliothek Memorial in the Bebelplatz Square on the Unter den Linden Boulevard in Berlin. Now, we have a wonderful degree of freedom to talk on YouTube, even if it is constrained by a certain amount of rules. But people who rabble rouse and rage bait and go on about burning Korans and burning books they disagree with forget that once you start burning books, people write books. And once you start doing that, it's a very, very quick step from burning the books to demonizing the people. And I've seen several channels using images of book burning with the Nazis present, as though they think that's some great cuddly thing. What they forget is when the Nazis had finished burning the books, they weren't exactly just burning them, they were burning down homes and chucking people in concentration camps. And people like that should be very careful, especially where they run large channels where they have some direct influence. Every one of us out here who has more than a couple of thousand followers has some degree of influence, and there are some people who will actually think we're wise sage-like beings instead of just talking heads and pundits out here and just people waffling. Basically, we're all just barroom bores who think we're amusing to listen to. The memorial to Heinrich Heine commemorates the infamous May 10th, 1933 book burning of more than 25,000 volumes, which was presided over by the most intellectual, if you can use that term, of the Nazi leaders, Dr. Joseph Goebbels. Authors whose books were drawn into the flames by university students included such enemies of the German spirit as Karl Marx, Albert Einstein, Thomas Mann, and of course Heine himself. The memorial, designed by the Israeli artist Michel Ullman, derives its considerable power from its mute depiction of library shelves emptied of their books. Heine's remark is a powerful and oft-quoted warning about the connection between barbarism and human evil, but its literary context has almost been entirely forgotten. The aphorism appears in one of his earliest works, Almanzor, a play written during 1820 to 1821 and published in 1823 when he was only 26. It takes place in Granada, after the Andalusian city had been conquered by Ferdinand and Isabella in 1492. The title character is a young Muslim who fled the city before its occupation and now by the Christians and has now clandestinely returned to try and rescue his beloved Salika, who has been forcibly converted to Catholicism and is now called Donna Clara. He meets with the remnants of the Muslim population in the city, who tell him about the atrocities perpetrated by the conquerors. And that's another thing to be aware of. If Muslims commit atrocities, so do Christians, so do Jews. Every group on earth has done it. There are no exceptions with any large, powerful group. Don't cod yourself and think that your group hasn't done it just because you're a member of it. Now, one particular channel yesterday used a picture of the Nazis chucking books in. And that particular channel is run by an individual who positions himself as a Zionist. Now, he knows very well who he is, and I'd like to ask, how in heaven's name can you position yourself as a Zionist and be putting up pictures of book burnings by the Nazis. The cognitive dissonance is off the scale. Of course, I will receive no reply, but I think it's very important that we don't let that sort of stuff go unchallenged, that it doesn't slip off the radar, that people like that who are just basically rage baiting and mucking around and attempting to basically monetize hate via an ability to use slightly longer words than most of their audience and to construct a slightly nicer sentence don't go unchallenged. Don't be fooled by people like that. If it sounds like bullshit, it probably is bullshit.